Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy on Rainier Avenue Radio.world premieres every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and is rebroadcast Thursdays at 3 p.m., overnight from Friday to Saturday at 2 a.m., Saturday mornings at 10 a.m., and Sunday evenings at 5 p.m.
Totally bored? Mindlessly scrolling? Put down your phone and pick up a free youth transit pass. Youth 18 and younger ride for free. Go all the places. Do all the things. Escape the scroll at freeyouthtransitpass.com.
Rainier Avenue Radio.
Love that. Hey, y'all. This is Dr. Traci Harrell, and you're watching Better Together and Living Powerfully right here on Rainier Avenue Radio, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. They have it all over the place. I love that. So I wanted to start with a couple of things. The show that just played on Rainier Avenue Radio before me is typically, a men's wellness show, mental health for men. And I watch it often because I know the host. And I know he's brilliant. And what I loved today about two of the topics that he mentioned was he talked about legacy, and I heard him talk about self-care. Now, this is a show typically for men. And so when I talk about legacy all the time, right? And when you think about this concept of self-care, the idea of restoration is so important. I also love that he looked at the calendar and was like, y'all, we are running out of time on 2025. So if you're trying to thrive in 2025, now is your time to really focus on those two words that he talked about. We're going to build on those today. It was already my plan. And we definitely did not talk. So I love when there's consistency and cohesiveness. When you're trying to end the year and you're going into a new year, people can feel different things, right? Sometimes you can feel like, I didn't do all the things I wanted to do, right? Or you can feel like, oh my God, oh my goodness, I can't wait for this year. I've heard so many people say, I can't wait for this year to be over so I can start new. And then you don't have to wait for December 31st to start new every moment. And I just want to repeat this because I know we talk about it all the time. But every decisions determine your destiny. It's moment by moment. You build legacy moment by moment. Let me just say that again. We build our legacy. We create the life that we desire. We fulfill our dreams moment by moment. It's those decisions that we make about how we're going to show up. Are we going to show up in integrity for this particular situation? Maybe it didn't end the way you thought, right? But are you going to show up with integrity? These are the choices that we get to make. We get to choose joy. We get to choose a life of integrity. We get to choose whatever we want. Honestly, it's all there for the taking. And I know I'm going to slow down because someone told me that when they listened to my show, they were like, it's so many good things. I'm not finished. This is literally what I heard last week. Someone said it was so many things. I couldn't finish writing the first thing. And you had already said two other things I wanted to write down. And I'm like, well, they play my, this is what I said. I said, oh, I'll slow down. And then I thought, well, they play my show 4 times a week. So if you want to watch it again, just come back to the schedule and you can watch it again. But I'm also going to slow down because I think that's too much. That is too much. But I love the fact that people watch the show and they're like, it's so good. Like if you just want to have a moment of restoration, some positive insights and specific actions that you could take to live the life of your dreams, to truly live powerfully, that's what this show is all about. So I do appreciate the feedback. So thank you. I'm going to slow down today. But I got a lot to share, so I'm going to slow down. But again, our topic today is going to be focused on legacy and self-care and restoration. Okay, and I'm going to give some examples. So as opposed to giving a lot of quotes and a lot of things, and I typically have everything prepared. Like I'm using this show as like I'm sharing free content for this show, for the book that I'm writing. And it's really good. It's Living Powerfully. And I take quotes from other books and stuff that I've already read, and it's really awesome, right? But it's like my legacy is saying, I want to show up for you. Like, I'm not, if I died tomorrow, and this probably sounds really morbid, but if I died tomorrow, let's hope I do not. But I would be like, God, I need for my creator to say, well done. Well done. He told me to show up, to deliver, to do this work. So I'm going to do it. That's what I'm going to do. So, okay. So I'll keep moving. Someone was like, why did she say that? It's okay. Because I think the one thing that is so important that when you think about living powerfully, are you showing up in your full you? Are you showing up as your full you, your best self? And are you becoming your best self every day? Is moment by moment, your moment by moment decisions, are they allowing you to be the more of the who you want to be every day? It's really, Michelle Obama's book was called Becoming. And I just love any word that ends with ing. It's like you're getting there. We're on the journey to become our best selves, right? To do the things that are going to allow you to truly live your legacy. Not when you're dead. It's too late, right? And it's really through the people that you pour into. Like, oftentimes I have people come up to me and they say, girl, you said this thing or you did this thing. And even when I was in corporate, they used to say, wow, I was just so proud when you said that, because I knew I couldn't say it. And I guess I was fearless in the sense of I got and said, I got your back. And the idea of showing up fearlessly is a beautiful thing. So stay with me. Okay. So the most of you know that I was in Jamaica and I had this extraordinary experience. It was meant for restoration. It turned into a whole nother thing, right? And for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the 3 G's. I'm not going to go into them again. I'm just going to repeat what they are, and then I'm going to go to another topic. But we talked about the 3 G's for living powerfully, like the legacy leadership, the 3 G's of legacy leadership. And it was grace, showing up with grace, right? Showing up in a way that maybe is unexpected, that where you actually have been, someone has done you wrong and you could respond negatively, but you choose not to. Where someone is not doing what you expect and you show them compassion, right? So grace is really your ability to show up in excellence, to show up with compassion, with joy, with peace, and all the things where you are showing up in a way that is pouring into others. It's fulfilling others. So that's great. Grace is, we get grace, but you can also give it. And I'm really focusing on how you give grace, how you can show up, with that in your heart. And it feels so good. When someone has done you wrong and you're able to say, Lord, I'm doing the best, like I'm going to show this person grace. It just feels good, right? This is the season for the holidays. And so what reason I mentioned Jamaica is because I saw grace. I saw gratitude. People, even though crazy things were happening, they were focusing on what was good about the situation, what they could be thankful for, right? And I'm going to say something super morbid, but I heard from someone who was also in Jamaica at the time that I was there. And I told you that we had, wind and rain that was coming through our balcony. It was flooding our room. It was really crazy. Someone else told me after the storm that the floor above them, something similar was happening, and that the glass didn't hold. That the glass pane, the sliding glass door, the pane fell through the sliding glass door and severed 3 of the fingers of the wife who was in the room above them, her. Yikes. So I'm grateful, right, for the things that didn't happen to us. Yeah, we were working it. We were right in front of the sliding glass. Like anything could happen. 100 things could happen, right? Worse things could have happened than what did happen. So we were focusing on the positive. And that's what you do during the storm, right? During the storms, you show up with grace, smiles when you probably want to cry. And it's okay to cry. You can cry too, but then choose to not put your negative energy on someone else, right? So you get to bring joy to others as well. And we're not saying don't pretend like the things aren't happening, even with gratitude. We're not saying don't pretend like these 10 things aren't happening. We're saying, if you want to manage your energy well, then you want to focus on the things that are working well. So you want to amplify those things. You want to make sure that in your life, you're creating a space where you're amplifying the things that you want to see more of. You're not percolating on the things that you don't want. If someone's paying you late or acting like they don't want to pay you at all, those people are not, you're gonna offer them grace and put them in the hands of the Lord and keep it moving. That's all you can do. You got to keep it moving, right? So again, grace, gratitude, and then giving. Like I still said, you know what, to this person, this group, these sisters who wanted me to do some work for them. And again, less than ideal outcomes. I guess they were trying to build something. I won't go into the details of it, but my point is, they were having some challenges, and I wanted to offer them grace and gratitude, and I'm still going to give them the stuff that I provided, the stuff that I paid other people to help me pull together. We reviewed over like 200 and some grants for them, and I want to make sure that they get this work because my heart was in it for them and for their vision. And I will continue to, again, someone's going to say, well done. Well done. I'm doing my part, right? So you just want to show up with the things that your future self would say, well done. If you're not spiritual, it's okay. Your future self. How do you want to show up in situations? So that's the 3 G's of legacy leadership, right? So when we talk about the concept of legacy leadership, how you show up matters. It's not just what you do, it's how you do it, right? People will follow you when they know that you truly care. How do they know you care? Because you show up with grace, right? It's because you thank them for their service to your team, for being in your world, for your space, right? Like I am so grateful for so many people, and I probably say thank you, but I don't know, is that a thing? I don't know, right? Like I want to make sure you know, if you don't know, I'm grateful for each of you who watch this show. Seriously, because again, you're allowing me to fulfill my destiny in the world. Yes. Okay. So grace, gratitude, and then giving. Giving. One of my favorite books is by Deepak Chopra. It's called The 7 Laws of Spiritual Success. And one of the things he says pretty early, I think it's probably it's early in the process. I don't remember what the numbers of the 7 spiritual laws of success. But one of them is about giving. And it was like, you can give to each person that you connect with, even if it's a positive word. If it's a prayer before the meeting, if it's wishing them well, like you can gift to people in a way that allows, and it feels good. It creates that yin and yang, that energy that says, in the world, there's that circular energy, you give and you receive. So you're planting seeds in the world. And again, that's huge as well. So I'm going to move on from the 3 G's of legacy leadership. Thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate the comments. So my focus is on next steps, right? Legacy and restoration. So let's talk about legacy. I started this whole conversation by saying your legacy is built on how you show up for everyone around you. Those people that you believe you want to pour into, that you were meant to pour into. Your legacy is every day. It's like, how do you show up? People are watching you. They're going to hear what you say, but they're going to watch what you do, right? They say that about children, but your friends, your neighbors, the people even on social media. Some people have, they use social media like they post all the good stuff and not necessarily the truth. I like to say, hey, FYI, right? Like things don't always work out, right? Things we got a lot of crazy things happening. And what I'm saying, despite the crazy things, in the middle of the storm, you can still choose joy, right? Because I'm not pretending like we don't have some crazy, right? I try not to talk about politics because that's a whole nother space, right? It's energy that I don't invest in that way, right? But some people are like stressed out every day about something related to politics. And it's like, I'm thankful that I don't have that energy to invest in that space, right? I want to invest my energy in positive things that are building, and that would be my recommendation to each of you. Again, we're almost at the end of the year. You think about 2025, and it's like, oh my goodness. So today is the 8th of December. Woo. So what you want to do is you want to show up, whether it's through the end of this year, the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks within this month, or into 2026. You want to start thinking about, what am I going to do differently? Because some people are like, I'm shutting it down. It's the holidays. I'm going to focus on that. That is fine. But during the holidays, when you're around family and friends, this is the time when you need to focus on those 3 G's. Grace, people are going to show up, maybe not at their best. You can still be at your best. Gratitude, yay! I'm grateful for this thing, even though that thing didn't happen and someone didn't do what they said they were going to do. I'm so grateful for A, B, and C. And then the giving, right? Showing up as your best self. So I'll move on. So legacy, again, is about every day. How do you show up? Our decisions determine our destiny. And we say that all the time. I experienced something this week. Actually, it was yesterday. No, it was Saturday. And Debrina Jackson Gandy, most of you know, she's my business coach. She's also a transformational coach that I did some work with earlier. And I'm also able to, since I'm doing a lot of work with AI, living powerfully with AI, I've been able to leverage and show her some of the things that could benefit, you know, how she might leverage AI, right? Living powerfully with AI. And so I like most everything that Debrina has done. And I wrote her a poem of gratitude, which I'll read on another day, because it's really not about Debrina or about she was celebrating her birthday early this month. But what I wanted to say is she hosted an event on Saturday. She called it a homecoming, and she invited all of her mentees, some that she'd been mentoring for decades. And I think she had a mentor, Dr. Maxine Mims, who had been mentoring her for like decades, 20 something years. And so Debrina has been mentoring other women. And so she had an event that was at the Hyatt in Lake Washington, and it was called the Homecoming. And I took some really good notes because she asked each of those women to share some of their lessons learned. And it's not really about what they learned from her, what they learned through their life, and how things that she taught them benefited them. What I wanted to talk about is her leaving a legacy. So now she has mentees that she's poured into that are full, that have been filled with some clarity and direction to help them to live powerfully. That's my language. She says for them to live juicy or to have holistic success. So she's poured into these women, and these women then this past Saturday were pouring out from their fullness. What were the lessons learned? And they each shared a lesson in a particular topic. So it wasn't very burdensome from them. It was just like, what have you learned? It could have been something that they needed to do better. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And I did take some notes, and I took notes in the same journal that we got when we were in Jamaica. It was, you know, it had the mosaic logo on the front of it. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at the end. But what I loved about the homecoming was she talked about women as natural leaders. And one of the first women that spoke, and this is something that reflected on me as well, which is why I'm going to say it. I'm not going to say it because it's someone else's story. I'm going to say it because it also was one of my learnings early in my work with Debrina, and I think it'll be very beneficial because she was kind of doing a recap of the year. She called it homecoming, so I think it'll be a really good way for me to talk about that as well. But what I wanted to share is this idea of someone talked about feminine leadership. That's language that Debrina uses. When I first met her, because I was in corporate, she talks about feminine leadership then. And she says how many of us who have been successful in the corporate world, we have this masculine energy that has served us well. When Traci shows up, I always have a plan. I've always thought it out extremely well. I have kind of like male energy in the sense of, I ask questions. I want to, I'm also collaborative. I want to collaborate, but I'm also going to have a plan. I don't think my plan is the best in the room, but I think it's going to be, it's well thought out. It's research, and I can back it up if there's any conversation. But if someone's like, oh, yes, and yes, and I'm like, oh, let's level up. So I think that's one of the gifts that I have. But oftentimes we have this masculine energy, and we bring masculine energy into relationships, like love relationships, for example. And when you have masculine energy and your man has masculine energy, right, two magnets repel. So two the same thing, not good. She talked about women being the, gracious receivers. And I love that. So that was one of the things that one of the ladies shared. That was one of my early learnings with Debrina. Maybe, gosh, it's been years. Wow, it really has been years. Probably 6 or 7 years ago. The first thing she talked about, and she basically said, if you're going to wear that in the corporate space, wear it. But physically take off that male, she's like, pretend it's a coat of arms, the coat of many colors, right? And remove that masculine energy so you can walk into a space, if there's another human there, right, of the male persuasion. Just say it. And don't be trying to boss him. Don't be bringing that boss lady, she knows a boss chick. Don't bring that boss chick energy into the house where then you're taking away his energy. Now you both have, that masculine energy. So I just thought that was beautiful. One of her insights was talking about, healing and forgiveness, having to walk in that space. So on the topic of healing and forgiveness, one of the ladies, let me slow down, male energy, nothing wrong with it, but you got to use it well. You want to make sure you're using it wisely. I used to have leaders say, Traci, you have superpowers. Use them for good and not evil, meaning show up, right? Show up for the thing that you were meant to, focus on, and, make sure you are taking people on the journey with you, right? Because I'm gonna be thinking really fast, but you want to slow down and make sure people are like with you along the journey. That was one of my learnings too. So male energy, oftentimes you're getting to the end goal, but it's like take everybody with you along the way. Right. I may have moved too fast on another project recently, and I want to make sure I slow down, even just for this communication. So again, another key learning, I'll just recap, male energy. Oftentimes is important. It's just knowing how to manage it, knowing how to use it, knowing when to take that off and show up in your feminine leadership, right? So maximizing your feminine energy. So one of my prayers and one of my manifestations for this year was for me to attract those things, the right people into my life, not the wrong ones, but the right ones, attract the right people into my life. And so feminine energy is magnetic, right? So it's magnetic in the sense that you get to show up. Like we bring light into a situation, right? Smiles attract energy, attract light, but also just how you show up. When you do your work, when you're divinely inspired, truly divinely inspired, you get to bring a certain energy that attracts other people. So I'm a transformational coach, and I know it's about what you believe, right? Your beliefs dictate your thoughts. Your thoughts lead to your feelings and your emotions. Your feelings and emotions are what lead to your actions or inactions, and it's those actions that lead to the results. So when you think about that, the 5 drivers for human behavior, though, that's what it is. Beliefs are at the core. Like that's the roots. If I had to grow a tree, then the thumb is the roots, right? That's the beliefs. So when you're trying to transform, you have to change your beliefs about a thing. So if you're looking at your life right now, if you're reflecting on 2025 and you're like, this thing keeps happening, I have to think deeper about my beliefs. What do I believe about that thing, right? That I could change. You have to change your beliefs, not just jumping into the actions and let me just do this, let me do this. You can do that all day, but when something else happens, right, your beliefs are what really transform. When you talk about those caterpillars that transforms into a butterfly, they're not, the next time something shows up, they're flying. They're not scooching on a limb, right? Because when full transformation and embodiment happens, you're in a whole different stratosphere. You're the butterfly now, right? You're not the caterpillar scooching along on a limb. If you've done the work, if you've done some, again, belief work, and Debrina also talks about forgiveness work, which I hadn't heard about in the way that she talks about it fully. And so I like the way she talks about it. I've heard of forgiveness work, and I've heard of belief work that includes some level of forgiveness, but not the way she does it. So I really do appreciate, she has a 5-step process. We actually, you can look on YouTube. We've done a few sessions. You can reach out to Debrina directly as well. Ms. Debrina Jackson Gandy, the $1 Million Mentor. And she does go into depth regarding her forgiveness work. But I can just tell you, if you have feelings from the past, and this is how you know that you need to do a deeper level of transformational work with a coach that is someone that can help you to truly transform. You know it when you're triggered by things that you know really shouldn't trigger you the way they have, right? It's almost like you have this emotional wound here. I'm just gonna put my finger on the top of my shoulder, right? And someone brushes by and you're like, ah! Right? And it's like, okay, could have been that little brush that caused all that pain. You got some unhealedness, right? There's something there that's from some prior incidents, some prior situations, and you haven't cleaned it up or cleaned it out. It's like those emotions are still there. And so you wanna work the process. So you basically identify those emotions, you claim them, you say, oh, let me think about this situation, and you want to identify the negative emotion, and then you ask divinely, you ask for to transform, to get rid of that negative emotion and transform it into something positive, but you got to claim it as well. So your brain is like, oh, okay, I see. And if there's a need for verbal, physical, shaking it out, right? All that's possible. All that is possible. So again, I just want to make sure people understand this idea of getting to the next level, living powerfully, having the best year of your life includes this idea of healing, releasing. I'm going to use another word that I love. I used throughout the entire year of 2025, and it was the word surrender. So surrendering to like a higher power, surrendering to something bigger than you, surrendering to true love, right? Where you're like, I don't really, but I believe that I was put here for something more, right? And that to me is so powerful. Is believing that you were here for something more and then walking in it, taking actions. One little thing. Remember, we've said this before. Taking one action a day that's aligned with the goal that you want to see come to fruition. The person that you want to become. Just do one thing per day. I talk about Fit Traci. Fit Traci has taken her vitamins today. That was one of the things I did. I made some eggs, some scrambled egg whites, and I had sauteed some mushrooms and peppers. Like, this is one of the things that I did early this morning. It is 6 o'clock. I haven't had breakfast yet. I wasn't hungry. I drank a lot of water. I was ready. I have it with me. I have some fresh applesauce and cinnamon, that I make. But when I say Fit Traci, and my body is a divine living temple, I'm actually listening to my body. I'm not fasting. I'm just saying, like, I had a lot going on today. I did. But I also wanted to show up in excellence. It looks like I have 1 minute before we have to go to break. So let me talk about what we're going to talk about next. So I said we're going to talk about legacy and then restoration. We're going to talk about restoration next. And we're going to use the word. So during my little Jamaica experience, my retreat, one of the ladies brought forward something. It was restoration, but she used REST, and she said rest is resistance, reconnection, reverence, and renewal, right? But then she took each letter of REST and she said, if you want to build on the REST framework, R is restoration and elevating your sacred temple. That's what REST stands for. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk about her REST framework. And by her name is Dr. Let me pull this up. Dr. Latanda Page did this amazing work. And I wanted to share it with you guys. I just thought it was beautiful. But she talks about the REST framework. Again, REST, REST, is restoring and elevating your sacred temple. And I've been doing this and it feels so good. So stay with me. So much more to come. We'll talk about that and then we'll talk about how you end the year extraordinarily well with peace and joy. So stay with us right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You ready for this?
this is Rainier Avenue Radio.world, the station that cares about our community.
This holiday season, come celebrate community, culture, and creativity at Together We Thrive Holiday Market, Saturday, December 13th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. inside the historic Columbia City Theater. Step into a festive wonderland filled with local entrepreneurs, unique handcrafted gifts, and the true spirit of the holiday. This isn't just a market, it's a movement. Because when we build together, we thrive together. At the heart of the Together We Thrive Holiday Market is mission, strengthening our community, increasing awareness of Black home ownership opportunities, creating pathways to generational wealth, and showing that our collective success is our community's greatest strength. Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to partner with the Black Home Initiative and the Washington Home Ownership Resource, helping spread the word about real resources, real pathways to home ownership. Enjoy holiday music, community connection, and a day dedicated to supporting local entrepreneurs. So join us Saturday, December 13th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Columbia City Theater. Together we thrive. Holiday Market. Shop local, build community, create legacy.
Happy Hump Day. We're excited that you decided to join us for the party. Fresh Juice is live Wednesday night, 9 to 11 p.m. Pacific time on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio with the Juice Factory, including me, Superstar TK, Hindsight Patron, and D-Money. We're going to chop it up with some cool people, play some really dope new hip-hop and R&B music, some games, and maybe even a live performance. Lock us in right now on Fresh Juice YouTube page at youtube.com/@Fresh Juice Media, or subscribe to us on Spotify or Apple Music. Fresh Juice exclusive.
Hello, listener. What's important to you about what's going on in your community? Are you interested? Are you concerned? In any case, I invite you to tune into my show, Seattle Here and Now, on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Why? I will be covering a wide range of topics important to you and impacting the community. Each show will have a special guest or guests to share with you information on a variety of subjects that are happening here and now in Seattle. I promise I will work hard to make my show informative, interesting, and entertaining. Be sure to listen to Seattle Here and Now on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
This winter, I don't want illness to get in the way of my holiday plan. That's why I got my annual flu and COVID shot. Everyone ages 6 months and older and get the flu and COVID shot each year. They make it less likely you'll get sick, and even if you do get infected, you won't get as sick. Free vaccines are available even if you don't have health insurance. For more information, visit kingcounty.gov/find-a-clinic. That's kingcounty.gov/find-a-clinic.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Don't forget to log on www.rainieravenue Radio.world.
Hey, y'all. This is Dr. Traci Harrell. Hey, this is Dr. Traci Harrell, and what I am super excited about for the second half of the show is we're going to start by talking about, we talked about legacy for the first half. How do you show up with legacy, in legacy? How do you show up every day and let your decisions determine your destiny, right? Like these choices that we get to make. We talked about what that looks like and how it looks. So I love that. But now we're going to talk about the REST framework, REST. This was shared with us by Dr. Latonda Page when I was in Jamaica before Hurricane Melissa. There was some restoration happening. There was some calm. We were there for empowerment. So I didn't want to miss out in sharing this, especially with year end coming up. A lot of you are going to be going on vacation. And sometimes you go on vacation and be busier during vacation than you are, at work. Right? Because now you got the family things and you got this stuff. So it's like, let me talk about rest, how important this new methodology, this new framework, this new insight around rest. So REST, she uses those words to mean restoring and elevating your sacred temple. I love that so much. I love that. So we're going to talk about the R in restoring, the E in rest, which is elevating, the S in rest, which is the sacred, and the T in rest, which is temple. So we're going to talk about each of those words, and I'm going to talk about it really slowly. I'm just going to give you the highlights because I really want to make sure you take this in, right? This rest framework. How can you really think about rest differently? How can you elevate your thoughts, your thinking about rest? How can you elevate your beliefs? Remember I was talking about beliefs? Right? Influence your thoughts. Your thoughts lead to your emotions. Exactly. Your emotions are the things that will determine what you do or don't do, your actions, and it's your actions that lead to the results. So beliefs are at the core. It's the roots. So when you think about rest, what are some of the beliefs that we might have about rest? Right? That was the first thing we did. We actually kind of talked about what are some of the things that you might believe about rest, right? That rest is for the lazy. You have to earn rest, right? You rest when you die. Sorry, did I say that? I'm just saying, like, some of us believe that. You have parents and grandparents that did working and going and going and going. It's interesting, right? How we can truly think about. I'm looking at this other view, this vertical view that is horrific, but I'll keep moving. Different views. Okay. So the rest framework, REST, restoring and elevating your sacred temple. So when you think about the word restoring, to restore means return to your natural state of balance. And hear me, if restoration is a process of remembering who we are beneath and or before the exhaustion, all the roles, all the responsibilities, it's remembering who you are. It's not a new thing. Like, we all know how to rest. We've just chosen to build on this other worldly, Western world mentality, right, around doing more, right, being busier. It's not necessary, right? Rest is about returning to your natural state of balance, your natural state of peace, your natural state of power. That's really what the restoring is all about. And you may say, okay, I got the word restoring. I can look at my beliefs about rest, and I don't believe rest is for the lazy. I know rest is required. Okay. Rest is a critical part of who I am. So you can say that's one of the beliefs, right? Like, it is important for me to become my best. I must rest to become my best. I just made that up and it rhymes. Stay with me. So how do you do it? It's about pausing. It's about being still. Sometimes you just have to, stop normalizing the chaos, right? Oh, she's busy. She's busy. You don't have to be that busy. These are choices. You have to say yes to that thing and the other thing and the other thing for you not to be busy, right? So you have to stop normalizing chaos. And if you're around people that are chaotic, you don't have to be around those people. You don't. You can just say, you know what, I need to step away. You want to practice stillness. So when I think about, for me, I think I can do a lot of things at the same time. I try to do a whole lot less of that, right? If I think about peace, like, sleep should just be sleep. Sometimes, I can't remember how many times I would say 9 times out of 10, I fall asleep with my laptop in the bed with me because I have this thing I want to do or prepping to do or looking at some AI stuff or whatever the case may be. And it's like, sleep time supposed to be sleep time. So I'm working on that. So that's what I would say I used to do. Now I'm being more clear about restoring. Okay, that was the R in rest, in the rest framework. The E is elevating. And I love this too. They're similar but different. Elevate means you're raising your awareness on the value of rest. So you're elevating this concept to say, this is so important. This is critical. I see it as not only important, but it's sacred. It's necessary. I understand that rest is transformative for me. That's elevating the concept of rest. First, you want to understand that rest is restorative, right? It's going to return you back to your natural state of being, your natural state of peace. Then you want to elevate what you think about rest, your beliefs about rest. It is sacred. It is necessary. And I absolutely, positively believe that it's transformative, right? And it's not just about lying down, right? It's about lifting your mindset back to those beliefs we talked about rest, what it means for your life. What does it mean for your well-being? What does rest mean for your legacy? These are some notes that I wrote. Like, elevate your thinking about rest. Elevate your beliefs about rest, right? And then what do I need to break free of? You got to really want to ask yourself these questions. So there are some reflections for you on both of these, right? Like, how does rest help me to return to myself? And sometimes you just got to pause and remember that self, right? Where you were more at peace. You want to remember that person and then tap into her. How do you elevate your daily routine to include intentional rest? Not rest and something else, but rest, like a set aside schedule. This is the one thing I'm working on as I end this year. A set aside schedule for rest, right? Put it on the calendar. Decide at this time I'm gonna shut it down. Establish a bedtime routine. This is what I wrote for myself, right? And I want to make it juicy, right? I have candles. I have, senses. I want to, bring the senses into it so that I'm like, oh, I cannot wait to go into that sacred self-care. Remember when I said we started the last session and our friend, our male, forgot his name. Somebody help me. But he talked about rest and self-care for men and women. This is if you're human. If you have a brain, your brain requires rest. So we want to elevate our thoughts about rest. R-E-S-T. E is elevating what rest actually means, right? You want to create habitual behaviors, things that, where you do nothing. You just pause, right? You want to build in rest stops throughout your day. Rest doesn't just have to be at the end of the day. I read an email today and it was like, ugh, man. Whew, I don't know what's wrong with some people, but I had to take a moment of prayer. I had to rest. Lord, bless this woman anyway. This is me fueling my own grace, by my grace. Bless these people anyway. Allow me to show up the best I can. We've done all this, help me, Lord. So rest, you can take rest stops, breaks throughout the day when you need them. You're going into a meeting that you know might be rest going into it, right? And then coming out of it, and you get to decide. So for me, it's important that you do all of these things. No one is more important than the other. When you think about R-E-S-T, restoring and elevating your sacred temple. So we talked about rest. The R in rest is restoring. The E in rest is elevating. Miss LaTonda Page, in her rest framework, she identified S as sacred. And this is something that, like I said, of all the things that happened, there were so many wonderful things that happened. I talked about grace, gratitude, and giving in the trip to Jamaica, but I didn't want to miss this one as well. So I'm coming back to this because I wanted to share this with you all as well. S is sacred. So when you call something sacred, like again, if rest is restoring and elevating your sacred temple, the word sacred is to acknowledge it as holy. Acknowledge it, remind yourself that this is a spiritual act that connects you to your ancestors, to your highest self. If you're spiritual, it can connect you to your creator, right? To God, if that is your thing. It is my thing. It don't have to be your thing. You have ancestors. You have people who came before you. You have your highest self, your best self. Rest is going to connect you to your best self. So that's the sacred. It's sacred. It has to be, you have to honor the divine that is within you. This is her language, not mine, right? Honoring the divine within you, that dwells within you, is the S in her sacred part of the sacred temple, restoring and elevating your sacred temple. Again, the rest framework, this is by LaTonda Page, Dr. LaTonda Page, who did a whole session with us when we were in Jamaica before the hurricane. And this is one of the things that I've been practicing that I'm asking each of you to do, because I know when you think about living powerfully, this is one of the things I'm working on, and we could all do more when it comes to rest, self-care, truly sacred self-care. Debrina Jackson Gandy has a book called Sacred Self-Care, and I think she wrote it like 25 years ago. And so she talks about that book as well, and it's a resource that's out there for you, Sacred Self-Care. I think it's called Sacred Self-Care and Principles or something like that. So again, sacred is critical when it comes to the R-E-S and the T. Now, what I wrote under sacred is one of the things that we do during rest is prayer and meditation. We talked about being still under restore, like pausing. So it's another thing that we can do is to schedule it and set it aside. It's another thing. Like that's for me. If it's sacred, then it's a non-negotiable, right? This is something that this must happen because I know it's going to help to elevate me to the next level. And then the T in her rest framework, and Dr. LaTonda's rest framework is Dr. LaTonda Page. I was forgetting her last name. The rest framework, the T is for temple. If your body is your temple, if you believe that, again, remember we talked about beliefs are the core. You have to believe that your body is a temple. Not if, your body is a temple. Let me start over. Your body is a living temple. You have to believe that. The living, breathing space where your divine essence dwells. So resting your temple means that you're giving your body, your mind, and your spirit the care and the reverence that it deserves. This is LaTonda Page, Dr. LaTonda Page's insights that she shared while we were in Jamaica. I wanted to share with each of you. And so then the question she asked us to reflect on, which I'm asking each of you to reflect on, and I'll share what my reflection was, is how can I treat my body with more reverence and more care, right? As a temple, as a sacred temple, a living sacred temple. Like the guy before me said, you know, you do these things because you want to adorn your temple, these sacred these sacred self-caring principles, whether it's a shower or it's a bath, and afterwards you do the oils and the lotions, right? You want to dress like royalty. I'm wearing my purple today. I sleep in my jewelry. This is sterling silver. It showers well. These are some tiny little earrings that are completely lightweight. So I wake up feeling like royalty. I go to bed feeling like royalty. I walked into this house today and someone was like, oh, you got dressed up. And I'm like, huh? Like, what do you mean? They're like, you got your jewelry on. I was like, oh no, I sleep in this. Oh no. I sleep in this. Like this is how I show up for myself. I wake up like this. I go to bed like this. And again, every necklace isn't smooth and works well. I bought a beautiful necklace. This thing right here is actually part of a necklace set, right? But it had these kind of sharp edges. It didn't sleep well. Well, I couldn't sleep in that one. I can wear it on occasion, but I had to put on something that I could sleep in. That allows me. I wake up. And fortunately, I have beautiful skin, and I don't have a real routine, so I don't have to go to sleep with mask on and any of that stuff. I go to sleep with my hair. I get to wear it in the, like I get to go to sleep and wake up feeling, like I'm beautiful. We all are, right? You got to believe it. If you don't believe it, who will? Right. So I don't have to prim and prep and get myself together. I go to sleep and wake up basically the same way. I take a shower. My skin is, again, it does its own thing. Thank God. Thank God. It's one of the areas where I can say my skin has really, really shown up for me where I don't do a whole lot. So I get to go to sleep and I get to wake up and I get to shower and do my things and, don't have a whole lot of preparation. Whether you don't even tell if I have makeup on or not most times. I do like putting lip gloss on. And I say that to say you want to adorn yourself. I don't like to do a whole lot, so I bring it with me wherever I go. We all want to adorn ourselves. So when I get on camera, I like to put a little powder on so I'm not as shiny. Put a little lip gloss on, right? I don't really. I try to do something, but I want to make sure adorning this temple. Right. Most times when people go out, you want to show up in excellence. So I want to put that out there into the universe. So this divine temple of ours, that's the T in the REST framework by Dr. LaTonda Page. And so she has, and I love this part because I'm so not hip when it comes to music and playlists. So there's some rest affirmations that she shared with us in playlists. Okay. So I am restoring the sacred parts of myself that I once neglected. That's one of her rest affirmations. I am restoring, this is what you're saying to yourself, the sacred parts of myself, because we talked about art. The art is restoration. I'm restoring those sacred parts of myself that I once neglected, that I used to neglect. I choose not to do that anymore, right? So the restoration, this is one of the affirmations you can say, going backwards to the you before you got so busy and think that too many responsibilities. You get to choose differently. You get to choose well. You get to restore that peace from within and know that you have everything you need within you. The second affirmation was, rest is my elevation. Every time I rest, I rise higher. So the R-E-S-T, the E in rest is elevation. So she has identified an affirmation that is, rest is my elevation. Every time I rest, I rise higher. I know that to be true for me, and I know that to be true for you. So she has a song by Erykah Badu, and it's on and on and on and on. She said that I'm restoring in the sacred parts of myself that I once neglected. I guess On and On is one of the songs on our playlist. I do know that one. I'm going to go to the next affirmation for S is sacred. My rest is sacred. I honor my spirit when I slow down. So the song that she has here as a part of the playlist that you can play as you're thinking about this affirmation is Golden by Jill Scott. And I'm going to go to the fourth affirmation. Again, R-E-S-T. R is restored. Is restoration for the R. Right? E is elevation. S, sacred. T is temple. So my body is a sacred temple. This is the fourth affirmation in the REST framework identified by Dr. LaTonda Page. The REST framework. It's restoration, elevation, sacred temple. Thank you so much. R-E-S-T. My body is a sacred temple. I honor it through intentional rest. So there's a song by India.Arie called I Am Light that she references here. Now, the notes that I took for myself when this whole session was going on was, praise God for this. I was like, oh, do I need this? This was the part that I needed more than anything. And going into the, let me just tell you what I had said. Going into the weekend on the very first day, our intentions for night one in Jamaica was, my intention is to have a life-altering experience that allows me to show up every day in every way, fully surrendered to God's will and voice, and to draw closer to my inner spirit's direction in every decision. So think about how perfectly rest just goes into that. Right? And there was so much we talked about with intuition, and there were so many things we talked about throughout the week, but I just want to stay very focused on this concept of rest. Rest, R-E-S-T, restoration, elevation, restoring and elevating your sacred temple. That's the REST framework. Again, this was a presentation that was done by Dr. LaTonda Page. And again, for me, it is probably one of the most transformative elements because, again, we think we can think 5 things ahead, and that's what I do, right? And then at the end of the day, it's like, do 5 things at once, rather. And instead of getting still, I'm going to go back to the how do you do this? You get still, and your body will let you know what it needs. I had to say this part. I wrote this down. And did you guys hear me when I said today? Let me just repeat that. Get still and your body will let you know what it needs. So today, what I did, I said I got still today. Early this morning, I made some scrambled eggs with egg whites and mushrooms and onions and peppers. And I brought it with me from one location to the other. I wasn't hungry when I made it, but I just wanted to make it because all the stuff was, there. But I was like, okay, I'll have this one maybe even for lunch later on today. It's 7 o'clock. No food has touched my lips, not because I'm starving myself. I literally just wasn't hungry. I've been drinking water. Yay. My little Jamaica mug. I've been drinking water, and my body, I got still today. I could have ran back and forth and done some other stuff. I got still. Your body will let you know what it needs. Maybe when I come back tonight, I'll be hungrier. Maybe it'll be breakfast tomorrow. I don't know. What I can tell you is, and I did want to do some more intermittent fasting, but I'm not intermittent fasting. I had my food ready to go, right? But my body, when you slow down and actually listen, I have lost like 17 additional pounds. I got to go get on the scale and see what my highest was and what I'm at right now. Just because I'm listening to my body, just because I'm resting more, just because I'm like, hey, you know what? I get to choose. I believe my body is a living temple, so I want to fuel it. I do eat stuff that I shouldn't eat, by all means. I had pizza the other day, like some little half of it. So it's not like, I'm a vegetarian or any of that. But I'm choosing well. I'm choosing wisely most of the time. And I'm listening to my body slowing down so that I can truly, I'll say, release and then receive, right? When you think about your beliefs, a lot of us think rest must be earned. That's not true. Rest is yours for the taking. Choose to rest at any point in time throughout the day. A lot of people say these are old beliefs to new beliefs. I want to make sure you know what I'm doing here. Do good first and then help others and then you can rest. I used to think that. No, not true. You can rest first. Put your mask on first. You don't have to go helping other people all the time, right? I can rest and do other things. That's what I used to believe. I had to check my own beliefs. No, rest is kind of the thing. Right? Rest is your one thing that you need to do. I wrote down the rest is lazy, right? It's for suckers. No, I'm just joking. Sleep is for suckers. No, I'm joking. Somebody said that in the session. I wrote it down. I don't believe that at all. But you know, it is a shift that I did believe I can do multiple things. I believe that for myself, and so I've shifted my thinking about rest. If rest is restoring and elevating your sacred temple, then you get to show up differently. I think I have 2 minutes, and I might even have a. So let me just end by saying, if rest is a sacred act of restoration, right? It's about a return to your divine self, right? It's not just, you know, not working. It's not just about sleeping. It's about restoring and elevating your sacred temple. Hopefully today was beautiful. I want to thank Dr. Latonda Page. I'm going to give you her website, by the way. It's www.thehealingspaceforblackwomen.com. So she created this session for us. Look how beautiful that was. Let me see if you can see that. He created this. It was called Restored. A self-reflective journey of healing and transformation. So I just read through some of her key highlights and my notes from it. But this was from Dr. Latonda Page, and her website, again, is www.thehealingspaceforblackwomen.com. I have to give people their props. So, what I wanted to do as we end today is to invite you to join me next week. And I think there's probably some... Let's see if there's an announcement that I need to say. Yes, there is. There's an announcement that I need to share. So guess what you get to do this Saturday? You can shop local Christmas at the Together We Thrive Holiday Market, which is being held at the Columbia City Theater this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Again, it's the Together We Thrive Holiday Market at the Columbia City Theater this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. All right. Well, that's it, y'all. That is the show for today. And I wanted to say again, it is such an honor to show up for you, whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube or Rainier Avenue Radio. It is my honor and pleasure to show up for you week in and week out. And I look forward to next week. Stay with us because we're going to also talk about year end. We're going to talk about ending well and starting the new year, going and getting ready for the new year, but really ending well. You know, it's winter and things get to shut down so that it's okay to rest. It's okay to shut it down. So we'll join us next week as we talk about living powerfully, because it's so much better when we do this together. Bye, y'all.